Unaware analysis. Welcome to Railtown's exciting journey into revolutionizing developer productivity. Join us as we redefine software engineering excellence. Our stellar partnerships enhance innovation, making Railtown the go-to platform for developer productivity and cutting-edge engineering solutions. The software developer market is booming. With 30 million developers and growing, our potential is vast and vibrant. We're targeting an enormous opportunity. $182 billion in developer tools by 2024, skyrocketing to $250 billion by 2029. The future is bright. Poor quality software costs the U.S. economy a staggering $2.41 trillion annually. Railtown tackles this massive, costly challenge head-on. 40% of engineering dollars are wasted on bad code and technical debt. Railtown dramatically reduces these costs, saving billions annually. Every UI bug costs Uber $2 million per hour. Railtown's innovative solutions mitigate such costly disruptions effectively. Manual mobile testing can't scale efficiently. Railtown provides automation solutions that significantly reduce maintenance time, enhancing productivity. A single software bug cost billions when millions saw the blue screen of death. Railtown solutions are your essential shield against such costly disruptions. Railtown operates on a robust enterprise SaaS model, metering data per seat, project, and month, offering flexible scalability to our customers. Security is paramount. Railtown proudly holds the esteemed AICPA-SOC Type 2 certification, ensuring trustworthy and secure operations. Our proprietary application general intelligence model, the Conductor, brings unparalleled intelligence and automation to developer productivity engineering. With deep application understanding, Railtown's Conductor continuously learns your system, enhancing efficiency and stakeholder insight effortlessly. Task automation at its best. Railtown boosts team velocity, minimizes technical debt, and vastly improves overall software quality. Adaptive learning means Railtown grows smarter with each interaction, ensuring constant improvement and alignment with evolving applications. Detailed monitoring and insightful reporting capabilities enable strategic decisions, empowering teams to achieve unprecedented productivity gains. Railtown uniquely integrates siloed data streams, tickets, DevOps, and logs to provide comprehensive, actionable insights, redefining software development clarity. Railtown's AGI Conductor is your constant ally, seamlessly handling routine tasks, resolving complex issues, and enhancing documentation with unmatched intelligence. Conductor 2 revolutionizes continuous integration and deployment, automating ticket generation, bug fixing, and infrastructure updates, boosting productivity exponentially. Conductor 3 elevates developer efficiency even further, pinpointing code errors early, suggesting instant fixes, and streamlining testing. Railtown transforms your entire development lifecycle. Thank you for joining Railtown's exciting mission. Invest today and shape the future of software engineering excellence together.
I comply. Yes or no? No, you're not getting you good.
Oh, lordy. Lordy, lordy, lordy. LA is burning. LA is burning. All right, well, we have a small group of platinum atomic symbol is PT. All right, PT. All right, I'll know that in the future. I'll know that in the future. So it's I might be competing with something. I don't know. I don't intend to. If there's something going on somewhere else, please go to it. I'm not trying to compete with anybody else's streams or conversations with you. I will give my Jennifer disclosure, at least as I could say it for everything, but I'll say it specifically for Railtown. I'm not a consultant for Railtown. I do not have a contract with them, and I have not received any kind of shares, warrants, cash. Haven't received a phone call from them. So anyway, that's my Jennifer disclosure, and my overall disclosure is I seek the protection of the I guess the disclosure statement you see everywhere in financial products. Basically, anything I say may or may not happen, may or may not be true. I try my best, but you got to do your own research, I guess. And it's opinion, it's editorial, it might be educational, it's strategy, but it's not financial advice. I can't give financial advice. I don't know you individually. I can talk in general terms, I can talk hypothetically, but I can't give financial advice. And I guess that's it. I don't know if that's a complete rundown of what those disclosures say, but whatever all the disclosures say is what I say. All right, let's move on. I saw that Railtown had a pretty good morning, pretty good late morning, but now it's flat. Do not despair. Do not despair. It's actually in the green. It's actually slightly in the green. Slightly, but don't worry. You got your 36 cents. The thing that I like, this is weird. I don't like Yahoo Finance. I saw the volume was up, but Yahoo Finance isn't giving me a high volume. So let me go to there we go. Yeah, it's up 0.004. The bid is $35.99. The ask $36.78. And the volume, let's see, there it is. Yeah, there must be something wrong with my phone. The volume is good. It's 387,000. So these are the things we want to see. And there's quite a few bids under the market. There was a trade just moments ago, minutes ago, 79,000 shares. So market cap 50 million shares. Not shares, $50 million, $50 million market cap. The number of shares outstanding according to OTC markets is 139 million. I always use 150 for my calculations, but 139,303 outstanding shares is what OTC markets gives. The float is 92 million, held at DTC 17 million. I'm looking for a confirmation of I guess they don't give that on holders, but I don't guess they give that information. It's all right. They show a real short of 3,413 shares. So maybe we're on to something. It's not a short play. I'm not telling you, thank God it's not a short play. Let's see if I can get John's interest. I forgot to bring it out, so now I got to find it. I had a article on platinum that I wanted to. There it is. I found it. I haven't read it yet, so I'll read it. This is in honor of John Quasson, and I also just realized I didn't look at my emails. I just realized that. John pointed out that you can buy silver at coin dealers at a good price, local coin dealers, coin shops. So look that up. Look that up where you live. There's also, you can order it from them. I guess you pay the shipping. There's one in Palm Springs that I'm sure it's in my email. I'll have to get that address for you. If I do it now, I'll disconnect, I'll lose comments. I'll just have to do it for the next time. I found this, by the way, I haven't seen Augustin for a while. I hope I didn't piss him off. I got to do better. I'm going to go to St. Matthew's and get their big book and try to go back to whatever Sunday it was that I was there. Anyway, Paul said that there was a list of sins. One of them was something like I forget. It's just being hot-headed or having a temper or bursts of, anyway, I got to work on that. So anyway, with Augustin, he had $1,000 and he really wanted to buy finger calls. I told him at the time, buy 20 May $3 for 25 cents. I think, to my memory, he must have made money on that. But then, do you know what, at that time, if he did it, he bought 2000 Railtown at 28 cents. So that wasn't bad. That wasn't a bad, again, it's for educational purposes. The other gentleman that asked about silver companies, Jim Rickard's specific silver company that he recommends, well, there's two of them. One is Fortuna Silver Mines, that's FSM, and the other is First Majestic Silver, which is AG. Just from my sort of absorbed sense of it, I think I like First Majestic Silver best of those, although I don't know. Anyway, I'll look into those two, Fortuna Silver Mines and First Majestic Silver. I'll try to go over some other silver companies. This rather poorly written. It's almost as if this gentleman, English isn't his first language. So since I only speak one language, I can't criticize. God bless him for trying. But he had a list of silver companies that I want to go over. And these are smaller, and these are the ones, there's two approaches to buying. And you got to start with the big ones first. That's where the money, all those red socked money managers, or if they wear socks at all, they're going to, as they turn to analysts and look at it, they're going to go to the tier one companies first. But another way to do it is buy some of the smaller companies, because they'll all get bought out. They'll all get bought out, and you'll make your returns there. But he has, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and then 11 silver companies that I need to go through. And then he's got several gold companies that happen to produce silver. And so I'll go through them. I don't want to give the names until I look at them closely. And I'll try to look through kind of which companies David Morgan is recommending in the silver area. And I took a list of what it's probably old, so I probably have to go back over it of what Rick Rule likes. I'll try to get some answers to your question on the silver stocks to buy. But I would start with the big gold companies if you want to own, or the ETFs. And I think Wheaton Precious Metals is one of the best places to start. Unfortunately, it's already pretty expensive in dollar terms, but in relative terms, I think it's going to be a strong one. All right, let's talk about platinum. This was Tuesday, June 10th, written by Tyler Durden. I hate this. Earlier, we talked about the overdue breakout in silver. I hate it. I didn't get a chance to buy for myself. But for those of you who did buy silver, congratulations. I still think you can. I think if we have, Tony DiDenaro made fun of me. And I want to be clear. My initial target for Railtown is $3.50. I asked a hypothetical. I actually was trying to use my brain instead of just being a critical peanut gallery punk. And I was just trying to point out to you that Railtown, which I looked, I have it here, I'll show you. I got their deck back in, I think it was October, might have been September. And, I've been studying that story since that time, following it. He comes in as if he's a prima donna or all-knowing. Well, they have a clause of going concern too. Look, you guys think he's great? Follow his advice. Go Denaro, stay Denaro. Go DiGennaro, whatever the word is for money. Never have any money. Just go Denaro. You won't have Denaro. But it's always easy to be a critic when you're playing with these stocks that are trying to get outsized returns, which you just got in Finger. You got a 5x approximately. You got a 10 or 12x in G-Bucks earlier. But they're hard to trade, as you see. It depends on where you got in, where you sold. They're very hard to trade. But those were all Ham's ideas. But it's easy to criticize. But the trade was there. The trade was there. When is Tony giving you a trade? It's easy to criticize. If you've got 12 trades, 12 separate companies, I would dare say out of 12 ideas, 12 commitments, 9 are going to either be mediocre, closed out, slight gain, slight loss, or a complete wipeout. 9 of them. 9 out of 12 are going to be shite. So Tony knows those odds, and like an obvious, stating the obvious DAC that he is, hey, you got to watch out. You can't, these stocks are, all right, fine. What do you recommend, Tony? CDs? Tesla? NVIDIA? What do you recommend? Put your balls on the line. Anyway, 3 out of 12 give you some kind of decent return. Probably out of those 3, 1 or 2, one's probably, it's okay return. I could have gotten the same return if I had purchased a dividend stock. And the second one, maybe, it's all right. I would have done just as well if I had gone into, an ETF. But it's good. I got 12%. I got 15%, whatever. But the third one, 1 out of 12, that the venture capital guys get paid for, the geniuses get paid for. 1 out of 12. And sometimes they don't even get that. Sometimes they don't even get that. That's the one that pays for everything. That's the one that gives you the home run. That's the one that covers all the red, gives you green, and keeps giving you green. And I think Railtown might be that. And so the question I asked, and he put it out as a form of ridicule against me, is, and I'm going to restate it. It's a question. It's not a statement. It's a question. Is it possible that when if Railtown works out, it goes to 5 or 10 or 15? He said, I said 17. I'll give you another number. What if it goes to 25? Do you hold it or sell it? And this might be one, and we'll know. We'll talk about it if that ever happens. But this might be a case where I saw an expression, get it right and sit tight. We might be in a stock where we get it right and sit tight. That's what I feel about silver. Get it right, sit tight. Buy it, put it aside. I don't own it, silver. I own Railtown. Buy it, get it right, get it right, sit tight. So we'll see. I'm not at all sure you're going to want to sell Railtown once it starts showing you its what's the word? Power. Its strength. Its well, there's serendipity here, but I think the AI space is about to be where cascades of cash coalesce. And little accounts get larger, and large accounts get larger still. Anyway, all right, let's talk about platinum. Let's take a look. This is Tyler Durden on June 10th. Let's take a look at platinum, which after years of dormancy has also erupted higher with silver. Darn it. Platinum is sprinting into a bull market in the span of just weeks, if not days, up 35% from April lows. And remember, John called platinum. I didn't. John did. There are still those who, upon entering a jewelry store and finding all platinum trinkets trading at a premium to gold, don't bother to ask questions. They should. While platinum did trade at a premium and hit double the price of gold back in 2008, the global financial crisis led to parity for about a decade, at which point gold took off and has yet to look back, while platinum has been stuck in a rut, flat as a pancake for the last decade. But I hate this, just as silver is finally broken out. I hate it. I've been calling that trade for ever. I've been waiting for over a year for source of funds. Just nightmare. Just a nightmare. Nightmare, nightmare. Nightmare, nightmare. There are several reasons for the breakout in platinum. First, the recent breakout in platinum, which took place amid continued dollar weakness, was sparked by the latest Chinese import data, which resurrected the narrative of sizable switching out of gold. Starting with fundamentals, Chinese jewelers and investors imported the most platinum in a year this April, as the precious metal's relative stability enhanced its attractiveness over surging and volatile gold. Imports of platinum into China, the world's biggest consumer of the metal, totaled 11.5 tons in April, according to data released in May. The sprawling Xubei market in Shenzhen, a major center for jewelers with more than 10,000 retailers on site, offers a snapshot of the shift. The number of platinum retailers in the sprawling market has tripled over the course of a month, according to Yang, a deputy general manager at one of the largest market, Bloomberg reports. Quote, some gold workshops are now trying to tap into the surge in demand, she said, for platinum, she said, but the transition isn't easy, as the two metals require very different craftsmanship, unquote. Platinum fabricators are overwhelmed, with retailers now facing unprecedented wait times that have doubled, she added. Furthermore, bulls have highlighted that slowing electric vehicle adoption will keep diesel car usage higher, spurring unexpected, in the overeducated halls of the elite Northeastern schools populated by womanism and wokeism, they might not have expected it, but old guys did. Unexpected demand for platinum, spurring unexpected demand for platinum in catalytic converters. All right, just as importantly, global demand for the metal, platinum, which is also used in catalytic converters and laboratory equipment, is expected to outstrip supply for the rest of this decade, according to Bloomberg Intelligence Analysis. According to Deng Weibin, the Asian Pacific head of the World Platinum Investment Council, the slump in gold jewelry sales that started last year attributable to high prices has had merchants rethink strategies. Quote, longtime gold jewelers are shifting gears to platinum products as gold has become too expensive and volatile, unquote, said Deng, who will be among the traders, miners, and analysts converging in London from Tuesday for the annual Platinum Week gathering. Quote, platinum has come in to balance out the risks and price swings of gold, unquote. That said, the surge in Chinese demand is recent. In the year to April 30, the nation's total platinum imports actually fell 31% compared with the last 12 months, the previous 12 months. But as with everything in Asia, once the momentum traders latch on, the upside is virtually unlimited. Sure enough, in the first quarter, platinum bar and coin demand in China more than doubled, pushing it ahead of North America to become the largest market for platinum retail investment. The growing demand threatens to further deplete already shrinking above ground stocks for platinum. The market was already tightening on expectations that slowing electric vehicle adoption will keep diesel cars on the road longer, and with them, demand for platinum in catalytic converters. It's repetitive. While prices are still below the levels seen in 2021, barely, when top producer Russia saw production slide as a result of the war in Ukraine and a spike in catalytic thefts, which sent the metal soaring, that the metal has rallied 20% so far this year. It's likely inventories have bottomed out. With demand running high, the shortage is likely to persist for some time, said Yang. Quote, I expect the tight supply to continue through June and July. Well, I guess that's some time. On the other hand, if Chinese appetite for platinum persists, the tight supply may extend well into late 2025 and much later. What about the technicals? Well, Goldman futures trader Robert Quinn wrote 2 weeks ago, there has been, quote, reasonable length initiated via futures, unquote. He went to Harvard. As aggregate open interest rose 510 million from May 16th to 22nd, and the, quote, option surface exhibited a reach for upside. That is, 3-month implied volatility richened, normalized 25 delta put call skew cheapened materially to a 20% 1-year rank. Given the still underwhelming platinum gold ratio, and actually that looks like a nice chart. It looks like a declining wedge. Platinum's going to catch up to gold. He's quoting, given the still underwhelming platinum gold ratio and managed money net futures length, one could argue for ongoing platinum leadership, unquote. One could argue. Quinn warns, but tariff overhang remains a concern. That said, the Goldman trader remains bullish as platinum displays positive correlation to equities, especially the auto sector and those exposed to tariffs. And once Asian momentum traders latch on, the sky could well be the limit. And I tell you, the chart, I don't know if I can get that chart to you. I might be able to. The sky could well be the limits. Finally, Goldman metal specialist James McCooch, nice name, James McCooch, asked last week, quote, is platinum a phoenix from the ashes or just a plain and simple oxygen thief of the market, unquote. His answer was that as of late May, long onlys were heavily participating in the move higher, while specs and CTAs were dragging or getting dragged with that, quote, look at the CMX London spread in platinum, which went from CMX 3 under to 6 over as hedge funds trade CMX and longs trade LME, unquote, or leverage longs only, longs only. The Goldman traders' cautious conclusion is that, quote, the commodity guys are not as convinced as the equity players, but if platinum breaks above 1,000, there are finally some data. If platinum breaks above 1,100, that can, however, start to change. They always pussyfoot around. So I guess just to put it in English, he doesn't want to take the courage to say it. If it breaks above 1,100, that could start the music. Well, late last week, platinum finally broke above 1,100, at which point it proceeded to trigger stops, and at last check was surging about $100 higher, north of 1,220 and a 4-year high, as the momentum chasers finally noticed. All right, that's platinum. I'll try to show you, it should be in my photos. And when I go to get some media help here, I'll try to show that to you. We have a terrible unraveling of civil society in California. I think it's planned. I don't think it's organic. And who does it benefit? It distracts us from things going on in the rest of the world. And it also tears down it distracts us, it tears down our might. And it's kind of scary. And I'm so glad people voted for Biden, because Biden and truth, we all know that Biden and truth are, symbiotic. Trump and truth are oxymoronic. But it's such a relief to have those 4 years of Biden and, welcome in 20 to 40 million new members of the human race. They unscreened for health, contagious diseases, parasites, anything that's contagious, totally unscreened for whether they're here looking for opportunity or here to do us harm, unscreened if they speak English at all, which, okay, they can learn it, unscreened if they're part of some sort of behind-the-scenes sabotage effort. It's great. I'm so glad that we had 4 years of Biden. It saved us from Trump. It really did. I mean, that guy, he grabs them. He grabs them by the, just terrible guy. The FBI spied on Catholics under Biden. Swell. State-funded chouse in California. The Los Angeles riots exemplify the left's ongoing approach to dissenting political policies. Violence. Rioters are burning the city of Los Angeles to the ground yet again, while Democrats clap and condemn the Trump administration for causing the destruction. Dozens of innocent people have been injured. The financial toll of these riots has not been realized, but criminals use the unrest as an opportunity to clear out stores, why not, and businesses before burning them to the ground. Quote, unquote, mostly peaceful protesters attacked LAPD headquarters and the U.S. courthouse. The Democrats will never miss an opportunity to condemn the events of January 6th. Interesting point. But turn a blind eye when their voter base attacks government property. Most Republicans, including Trump, condemned the events of January 6th, which do not even come close to what we're witnessing in LA. The Democrats are actively encouraging riots by congratulating these criminals for, quote unquote, fighting back. Kamala Harris released a statement to say that Donald Trump, quote unquote, provokes chaos in, quote unquote, immigrant neighborhoods by deploying the National Guard. The failed politician blamed the, quote, Trump administration's cruel, calculated agenda to spread panic and division, unquote. She then went on to directly applaud the rioters. Quote, protest is a powerful tool, essential in the fight for justice. I continue to support the millions of Americans who are standing up to protect our most fundamental rights and freedoms, unquote. The Constitution does not afford anyone the right to loot businesses or light cars on fire. These are outright violent uprisings that in no way represent a protest. Most of the participants are looking for a way to steal and cause destruction. The immigration battle merely provided an excuse. Democrats know they cannot win this battle legally and are using their favorite tactic of instigation to rile up their minions to do their bidding. Gavin Newsom lashed out when the National Guard prevented the full destruction of Los Angeles. How many cities have burned under his rule? Newsom accused Donald Trump of, quote unquote, manufacturing chaos and, quote unquote, eroding public trust. Let's clarify, quote, let's clarify. One, local authorities did not require assistance. This is Gavin Newsom. Two, Trump deployed troops regardless to create chaos and violence. Three, Trump achieved that goal. Four, now the situation is unstable and we must bring in additional law enforcement to address the fallout from Trump's actions, unquote, the governor stated. Newsom claimed that the National Guard takeover violated California state sovereignty. His state is already funding the criminals. The Coalition for Humane Immigration Rights of Los Angeles, CHRLA, played a main role in mobilizing the quote-unquote movement. The state of California funds CHRLA and provided the agency with $34 million in grants last fiscal year. Under the Biden administration, CHRLA received federal funding through the Department of Homeland Security. Trump revoked that funding in March and has retracted over $100,000 in unused fund. Yet, the public is perplexed by the federal government cutting off funds to those NGOs. Every single Democratic politician regurgitated the same lines to deflect all responsibility. Donald Trump is, quote, rapidly steering this nation toward authoritarianism, unquote, as Bernie Sanders put it. The far left will never stop their public relations mission to paint Trump as a dictator. Perhaps the federal government should permit the blue states to self-destruct. Put all the womanism over there and the wokeism. Taxpayers should not be forced to pay for cities to rebuild every time the Democrats encourage their minions to burn them to the ground. Akin to a child throwing a temper tantrum in their room, let blue states deal with the aftermath of their self-inflicted wounds. That was Martin Armstrong, written yesterday, Martin Armstrong. Okay, I'm going to go to, okay, Sparky. Yeah, we're up, Spark, let me go to that, Sparky. We're, our group is probably at somewhere between 1.5 million and 2 million shares. There's several of you gave me your name, but you didn't say how many shares you have, so I don't quite know the exact from people. From people that volunteered. It's kind of cool, but yeah, I'll put that down. You're up to 200,000. Sparky, you're going to be a rich man. If I was a rich man, ba-da-da-da-da, all day long, I'd ba-da-da-da-da. If I were a wealthy man. Hey, Darren Collins. John, thank you for your education. Hey, Frank, Giuseppe, Julia. Okay. All right. Julie Kim. Julie Kim. Awesome. You're going to be a rich man. Ba-da-ba-da-bum. All day long. I'd ba-da-da-da-dum. Da-da-da-da-da-da-da. I did not stay at a Holiday Express last night. No. No, I didn't stay at a Holiday Inn Express last night. I probably that might be my next destination. You'll find me at Holiday Inn Express at the monthly rate in a t-shirt with no sleeves, smoking a cigarette, staring out on the world with blank eyes and no, I didn't stay in a Holiday Inn Express. What is your opinion on G-Bucks not issuing the dividend yet? I don't think that's clear that they haven't. I don't think it's clear at all, but maybe you have information that I don't have. When G-Bucks issues the dividend, if you own your shares through a broker-dealer, they're issuing the shares to the street name block of shares that your broker-dealer owns. It's your broker-dealer that is probably pussyfooting around getting that dividend to you, unless you know something that I don't know. If they've announced they delayed the distribution, let me look. If I were a rich man, ba-da-ba-bum, all day long I'd ba-da-da-ba-bum-bum-bum. No, they didn't. As far as I know, they didn't make any statement on that they're delaying the record date. So no, Brandon, I would really think the delay is with your broker-dealer. That's my opinion. Which shows that the dividend is doing its job. It's tripping them up. And yes, I think that could definitely hurt the real short. Yeah, it could. My biggest question with G-Bucks is why didn't they get that transaction done? But that could happen too. So G-Bucks is sitting there. It's like the Burning Fields volcano. I can't remember the name, CF Fiore or something. Just sitting there, or Yellowstone, just bubbling away, and someday it'll ruin everybody's lives. All right, so Bill, I can't give you personal advice, but I can give you my opinion of what I would do hypothetically in your situation. 10,000 shares, do I add to my 100K of Railtown or purchased Finger? I still own 17.5 of Finger. You have to decide that yourself. But how I would look at it, is buy all you can of Railtown. That's how I would look at it. You could always, with Finger, if you're afraid for some reason that Finger's going to go up dramatically in the next let's say by the end of July, if you're afraid of that, buy some calls and then put the rest of the money in Railtown. But the chart on Finger is I can try to show you that later. But the chart on Finger is either that the stock has just waterfalled down to the resistance, which it broke out of, and now is support. And that might be where we were earlier today. I don't know where it is right now. Right around 220 or 226. That could be support. And it's just testing it, which is a normal thing to do, and then it's going to turn around and work its way back up. Or it's the way I looked at it, which is what I said the other day. I think the risk is the stock goes to 2, and it might touch as low as 180. I don't know, but maybe 194, 192. But basically, it at least has the risk over the near term of being a $2 stock. Now, Finger, I think that news was fantastic. I was listening to, just by chance, I was listening to a discussion of the worldwide automobile industry. And the guy was actually very positive on Tesla, very positive in general on China, not positive at all on the United States auto manufacturers. But he pointed out in China, there's 160 automobile companies, 160. They're not all going to survive, and the competition is high. So this billion-dollar company that Finger made an agreement with, I still think there's some things we got to learn. But I think the deal on the face of it is excellent. But how much money do they need? Do they have to issue more stock? What's the time frame? How many C2 vehicles are under the government contract? What's the revenue going to be? What's the time? There's a lot of unknowns. And we always have with Finger a very massive headwind of counterfeit selling to fight against. The annual report has come and gone. So I guess we can wait and see what a research report will say at maybe Roth Capital. But I think what I see in the chart for Finger is time. I see time. I don't think Finger is going to do much. I'm not even I'll give another one for Tony Russo to quote me. um, it's a hypothetical statement, but he'll put it out as if I'm making it as a definitive one. But I think it's possible that Railtown will be at $5 before the end of July. And I think it's possible that finger motion will remain in a tight trading range, centered around $2, maybe centered around $2.50. But I don't think finger will be $5. Could I be wrong? Absolutely. Where could I be wrong? If there's some truly out of left field, fantastic news coming in that we don't know about. And that's true of any stock you own. But I think the probabilities have to be presumed to be so, I guess, on that side. So actually, Bill, if I were sitting in your shoes, you've got to make your own decision. I'm talking about myself. But if I had the 10 grand, I would be able to buy, using 40 cents, 25,000 shares of Railtown. So that would get me, I'd be looking at myself, I'd be saying, I have 125. And then I would, this is going to surprise you, 30. Yeah, you might not want to do that. You might not want to do that. But you're asking my advice. I would probably reduce my position of finger enough so that I could own 150 Railtown or 175 Railtown, or best yet, 200 Railtown. And if you really want to go for it, just wipe it all out and own 250 Railtown. If it were me, I can't say for you. I don't know your income. I don't know what other assets you have. But let me put it this way. I don't see what can go wrong with Railtown. I see a lot of things going right with Railtown. And I'll try to educate you a little more today on Railtown. I don't think you're going to be able to buy right now. You could probably, let me just go for it. Let me see what you could do if you sold everything. I'm not recommending that. I'm not negative on finger motion, by the way. I'm not negative. But if I were in your shoes, let's say you get 220 for finger motion plus $10,000 divided by 30, what is it now, 37, but divided by 37. I could buy 131,000 Railtown. So I would be at 231 Railtown, 231 Railtown. But let's just look at the 131. If that goes to $5 in June, July, maybe August range, that kind of range. Let's just say it goes to $5. My target is $3.50, just for Tony cash flow. That would be worth $65,000 to you, $655,000 to you here within the next 90 days. you could come back and buy all the finger you want, even if finger's trading at $5. Let's say instead of 131, by the time you get it all done, you have 125,000 more. So 225,000 Railtown. And let's say, even though I've been ridiculed for pointing this out, let's say when the stock, if the stock goes to $5, it's because of good news. And you start looking at the news and you say, oh my gosh, this is really good. This is so good, I can't sell it. And now Tony will say, oh, there's a dubious comment by a YouTuber that said, it's so good, you're not going to want to sell it. Whatever. Stick with Tony, stay broke. I'm going to tell you, Bill, I think if you owned 225,000 Railtown and it goes to 5 and the news is good, and you start saying to yourself, I don't know that I want to sell this. This story sounds real good. Let me call Tony and ask him what I should do. He told me the stock wasn't going to go up and it was a going concern issue at 30 cents. Let's find out what Tony thinks I should do at $5. Of course, I'm being negativo. So let's say it goes to $5. 225,000 shares at $5. That's $1.125 million. I don't know if you're a millionaire already, but that would put a kick in my step. That would put a float in my boat. That would put a feather in my cap. That's at $5, Bill. That's at $5. What would make it go to $5, do you think? It's not us. It's not we. It's not we. We're not gonna make it go to $5. We've got a paltry, as far as I can tell, we've got somewhat under 2 million shares from, there might be more. We're not going to make it go up. There's 139 million shares out. We're not doing it. It has nothing to do with us. So what could it be, Bill? Well, what it could be for Railtown is on February 11th, they announced that they entered into a memorandum of understanding. What do the computers read that? The AI computers around the trading desk? Oh, memorandum of understanding. They're going to need new money. Oh, it might not work. Sell, 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 counterfeit, 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 sell, 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 counterfeit, counterfeit, counterfeit. Why? 2 reasons. One, they can load up cash and then they can go to Canaccord Genuity and say, hey, we'll do that offering on Railtown that you're putting out at a discount with warrants. We'll do it. We got the cash. We'll be one of your biggest buyers. That's their one strategy. Their second strategy, if they drive it down far enough, the deal will bust. And then all the people that bought the stock will go, oh, get me out. And they make a huge profit. They create the crisis and they profit from the crisis. Part of what they do, unfortunately, because of Bill Clinton, I don't know about in Canada, part of it looks like it's a procedure that's allowed. Let's put it that way. The rest of it's illegal. They benefit from this illegal behavior. They do it over 100 stocks, 1,000 stocks. So that may be, who knows, that may have happened somewhat in Railtown, because that announcement, Bill, I know the problem is you cannot, it's just so tough for human nature. It's just so difficult. You cannot separate this instinct that the price is telling you everything. That's what they taught you. They taught you in the random walk down Wall Street that at any moment in time, the price has incorporated all the information you need to know. Well, that's not the case anymore. Today, the price in the over-the-counter markets, and this is a Canadian stock anyway, and Canadian stocks trade at low prices, just like British stocks, and Australian stocks. It's a different theory. But anyway, the fact is that there are not research analysts in the general markets. There are not investment bankers. There are not trading desks. And the biggest thing of all, Railtown, like any stock, has to be sold to you. Stocks are not bought, they are sold. Somebody has to be selling the idea to you. That's what Stony Bones calls promoting. And that's what gets Jennifer worried that I'm a consultant. It doesn't matter. In anything you buy on Wall Street, somebody has sold it to you. So stocks are not bought, they're sold. And they're not sold anymore. They're not pitched anymore. The thundering herd at Merrill Lynch, 25,000 wealth advisors, the rather bloated group of wealth advisors at Morgan Stanley. Morgan Stanley used to be an elite group, and now it's just a big retail shopping mall. Probably another 25. And then you've got Prudential. I don't know about Prudential. You got Payne. I don't know about Payne Weber. You got anyway. You got the others. They're not going to sell it to you. They're not going to tell you buy Railtown. They don't even know about it. But their compliance is going to say you cannot solicit orders to purchase Railtown because it's under $2 or it's under $5. So this gut instinct that you're getting, which is telling you, it's 36 cents. I have a friend that sometimes talks that way. And I say that with affection. Let's see. I've got to get the price. I'm trying to get the price. All right, 37 cents. But what's the ask? I don't know. I don't know what the bloody well right. You're right. You're bloody well right. I haven't got the right to say. You're right. Right. You're bloody well right. I don't see the volume. I don't see the bid and the ask. Lordy. Okay, and let's go to OTC markets. All right, so it's 36 to 37 cents. Nobody, Bill, on Wall Street, one, knows about this story, and nobody on Wall Street's going to tell you about this story. Nobody. And they're not going to sell it to you. They're not going to sell this idea to you. But you know what's coming? Let's deal with Canada first. So they announced on February 11th, Railtown announces, the headline says, Railtown is pleased to announce, that's not the headline. I don't know what happened to the headline. Railtown AI Technologies announces MOU. Immediately, the algorithms in all the computers, particularly on the criminal's desk, pick up MOU. They start selling to acquire. They're going to need money. They start selling for the reasons I just described. Going to acquire AI Partnership Corp. So it keeps the price down. But there's no buying, Bill. There's no research analysts. There's no Merrill Lynch broker calling up her client saying, I think it's time to get into AI. And she's sitting on 250 million in assets and she can't tell one person to buy it. There's a guy at Morgan Stanley with $1.5 billion in assets. He can't tell you to buy it. It's under $5. And he doesn't know about it. But let's get to them next. Let's get to what's happening up in Canada. Railtown was created by essentially two men. I read that to you. This guy Haddad and Brandolini. But they have a whole team. Amongst them, they've gone through this 6 previous times. What do I mean? They built companies. They went through the R&D part, created software, got clients, tied it up in a ribbon and sold it. They've already done it a bunch of times. This is an R&D company. Essentially, even though it's now trading, essentially a private company nobody's heard of. This is Bill Gates having stolen the idea from his Harvard buddy, or no, that's not what it was. He stole it from, that was Facebook. He stole it from, I don't know. I can't remember. There's some vague thing about IBM or something. I can't remember now. But anyway, this is Bill Gates starting in his garage. Nobody's heard of it. Nobody's heard of it. This is Bezos marrying the tallest chick in high school because he couldn't really get anyone else. And 3:20. Anyway, he comes up with an idea, builds it slowly. No one really buys in. No one really understands it. And then he hits it rich and he can marry the most available woman in the world. This is a company that was R&D for 5 years at least. $10 million at least went into it. These guys had a vision prior to anyone else. They developed 4 products. Conductor, I forget the rest of the names. It's on their website. I've shown it to you. One is Razor or something, and one is Langtrax, and one is, let me see if I can find it. Oh, I see. Got to go up here. Yeah. All right. So one is conductor, which is the first end-to-end developer productivity engineering product platform for an entire developers team. It's all AI. It's all self-learning. It's all proprietary. It's first to market. It addresses $100 billion a year market. It cannot be used unless you go through Railtown. You can't get it in the open AI sphere. Then they created Lang tracks. This is something to do with improving agentic workflows with request completion. I have no idea, but that's a big market apparently. Then they have rail tracks, build better RAG applications. I don't know what the hell that is. It's very important. Who knows? And then the last one they have is SRedder, which is disrupting the SR and ED claim consulting market. And you always want a disruptor. So they have those four. They've finished the R&D. They're ready to go. It's AI, self-learning, closed AI. And it's in the Microsoft licensing developer system. It's in the NVIDIA. It's in the AMD, and the list is on their website. But your broker doesn't know about it. Nobody's buying it. Nobody's buying it. So you look at the price and you go, this is risky. Haas, I'd rather own Finger. It's $2. Haas. Well, okay. That's a reason. But why is Railtown 30 cents or whatever it is, 37 cents? Well, they announced the MOU, and I've tried to explain to you that was announced February 11th. And I believe, I have no idea, but that probably brought in these day trading firms and these opportunistic criminals to short it. Now, I'm not saying this is a short squeeze play. I don't know that was a lot of selling overall. I have no idea. But it suppressed the price. You would say, well, if it's such great news, this MOU, why isn't it up? Basically, they went through the R&D phases I just suggested, and they're commercializing these products. In the process of that, they ran into AI Partnerships Network. They joined it. They made that a separate announcement. They were so excited in December. And lo and behold, in February, they're buying it. They're buying the network of 163 companies, all AI, all with developed products. And in that 161 is a guy named John Ruffolo, who handles OMERS. I don't know what OMERS stands for, but it's the venture capital pool of Canada's retirement fund, or one of their big retirement funds. But he was behind a company called Constellation Software. Constellation Software went from either 6 cents or 60 cents, doesn't matter, or $6, doesn't matter, something like that, almost 20 years ago, to $5,000 a share. $5,000 a share. And I would ask you to ask Tony DeGennaro if the people that sold Constellation Software because it was in the prospectus that they had a going concern clause, they sold it at 60 cents if they're pleased. It's now $5,000 a share. Constellation Software is a NVIDIA, is a Amazon, is a Facebook, is a Microsoft, is an Apple. That's what you've never heard of Constellation Software, I bet. I didn't. I'd never heard of it. But you can look it up. The symbol is CSU. CSU, Canadian. $5,000 Canadian. I think it's 4,900 and something. Look it up. What was the business model of these gentlemen building Constellation Software? They acquired hundreds of smaller companies, absorbing them in some structure that kept present management in place. And they would do hundreds a year. And they built a behemoth. Behemoth. And those guys are here in AI Partners, which is being purchased. And AI Partners has 163 companies that in the press release, in their mission, is to roll up those companies into the mothership and build a bigger company. And that company is being purchased by Railtown AI. They put the MOU out February 11th. How long does it take for approval? It's been 4 months. My instinct is it's over with. Am I right? I don't know. It could take 5 months. It could take 6 months. But I think it's now. How much longer could they take? So what happens when a company is in the middle of corporate action? What happens when one company is buying another and they're using Canaccord Genuity, one of the largest brokerage firms in Canada? What happens? Well, all of the principals, probably wealthy, but all the principals and investors in Railtown AI Technologies are precluded from buying any shares of their own company because a material event, which was announced, is in progress, and the negotiations and the back and forth are all behind closed doors. They cannot self-deal. They cannot do trades without full disclosure. When does full disclosure happen? When the MOU turns into a definitive agreement. Is 4 months enough time? I think so. More than enough. Could it be 5 or 6 months? Sure, anything can happen. But it's going to be soon. I think it's going to be very soon. What happens then? All of the backers of Railtown AI who haven't been able to buy, but they know the story. They own 53% of the company now. And they're the ones acquiring. And they're the ones that built the product. They know the power of the own product they built. They can start buying. They can't buy now. They can start buying. All of the people involved with AI Partners That's potentially all of the investors of 160 companies. But I don't know if it applies to all of them. It's just the ones that are most engaged. You know, the ones that know about the merger, once they know about it, they can't buy. They're not allowed to buy. So they can't buy. And you're looking at the stock price and you're going, oh God, it's 37 cents. Finger motion is down to $2. At least I know finger motion. But the thing is, they can't buy. And this stock, I think, is suppressed by the automatic selling of computers who are dumb. Computers are stupid. So if and when, and I think the if is, you might as well cross it out and say when, but we don't, you know, anything can happen. The definitive agreement is agreed and announced. I think they'll still have, I mean, it's something, it occurred to me, you still need shareholders' approval. So there'll still be that delay. And I don't know how it works in Canada, but I think it's, you got to figure at least a month, maybe a little longer. But that's all right. The news will be out. It'll be fully disclosed. So these buyers can start buying from that whole group. What's the other group that's been precluded from buying? Remember, stocks are sold, not bought. So all of the major family offices, all of the major mutual funds, all of the major retirement funds, probably a lot of the retail clients in Canada have an account at Canaccord Genuity. The only way they're going to hear about this story is if Canaccord Genuity tells it to them. If Canaccord Genuity promotes it. If Canaccord Genuity pitches it. If Canaccord Genuity sells this idea to them. Retail brokers, institutional brokers, wealth advisors. It's when they start selling this idea to their clients that those clients can start buying. But guess what? Guess what? They're not allowed to. Those brokers, those bankers, those advisors are not allowed to pitch or cause their clients to buy or recommend the purchase of Railtown Technologies AI whilst the company is in a quiet period, whilst the MOU is active. They can't buy. They can't pitch it. So there's no buying. So you are looking at a stock that you don't want to buy more of. And I'm not picking on you at all. You have a great position. There's no need to make it bigger. You have a fantastic position. But you're looking at it and you're going, why isn't it up? If it's so great. Tony DeGennaro says it's a penny stock and the assertions are dubious, or the person making them is dubious. A lot of dubiality out there. Why? They can't buy. They can't buy. When is that going to change? It's going to change when the definitive agreement to purchase AI Partners is announced. Now, there's maybe a delay of 45 days or something, 30 days, 60 days to get shareholder approval. But that doesn't mean that the buying can't come in. Okay, let's stick with Canada now. So I'm trying to tell you that you are able to buy a stock that everybody out there with big bucks that's not going to pause. They're not going to take time to say, should I own Finger Motion or should I own Railtown? Should I listen to Tony the jerk DeGennaro? They're going to say, buy before the other guy buys. Now that we can. But right now, You can buy. While nobody is buying, you can buy. But you wonder, should you? Oh, well, and you already have. You have a great position. I'm trying to talk to a whole audience. So that's one thing. All those people that really have the knowledge of Railtown, which you don't, I have some knowledge. I don't really have the knowledge. All the analysts, the investment bankers, the venture capitalists, the family offices, the whales, the insiders, the people that invented it, all of those people that know what Railtown is, they can't buy. They can't buy. They're going to be able to buy once the agreement is finalized and announced. It has to be announced. It has to be fully disclosed. So what happens then up in Canada? You've got a stock at 37 cents. Let's say, for sake of argument, now that the commercialization of Railtown is in full process, let's say that they start having some success selling their 4 products, Rail Tracks, S-Redder, Lang Tracks, and Conductor, which I mean, if it's as good as they say and as advanced and first mover as they say, I'm sure they're going to have success. Maybe there'll be some announcements that come out over the next months. Maybe there'll be contracts to announce. But most of all, we're awaiting the announcement that the MOU announced on February 11th has been finalized. So what starts happening then? Well, you've got a 40-cent stocks. It's unlikely that pension plans, retirement plans, trusts, it's unlikely they're allowed, unless it's self-directed, that they're allowed to buy 40-cent stocks. It's probably somewhat unlikely that many of those mutual funds and et cetera can buy a 40-cent stock. But retail, possibly institutional brokers calling clients who can buy, can start purchasing the stock. But most of all, the insiders can buy. The investors that know the story can start buying. And so what happens, let's say it gets to $1. There will be some funds out there, pools of money that can buy at $1. Maybe it's not the whole universe, but they'll buy. What happens when it gets to $2? I think that's when it opens up around the world that people who direct money, manage money, can start buying at $2. What happens when it gets to $4 or $5? Let's say it gets to $5. The Merrill Lynch rule comes into play, and brokers around can start recommending it to their clients. It also becomes marginable. People who love it can margin their accounts and buy more. This is what could be ahead, and I think it is ahead for Railtown. This is not a piece of shit company that's engineering. We're going to do this. We're going to create that. We're going to try to trap the shorts. We're going to bring in this firm. We're going to announce that deal. We're going to make this happen, and we're going to catch the shorts, and boom. It's not one of those. You have not experienced, at least to my knowledge, a stock like Railtown yet. Okay, so I think as the stock goes up, Canadian clubs will come in and offshore. But let's talk about the United States. I posted it on my X. A friend of mine from my old office sent me the Morgan Stanley analyst video preparing Morgan Stanley's sales force for AI. AI is coming. AI, basically, the AI market is in its first 1%. You've got the rest of maybe 5-10 years for this thing to explode. Why are they doing that? They're preparing their sales force so they understand AI, so that when Morgan Stanley creates an ETF or BlackRock creates an ETF, or they create a mutual fund, or they create an in-house closed-end fund around AI, their salespeople will know what the hell AI is and why it's so important to be in there, so that the pools of money under management can be allocated to AI through ETFs, through mutual funds, through IRA accounts, through closed-end funds, and etc. Wall Street is teaching its sales force AI so the sales force can teach you AI. And then they're going to raise pools of money in AI that needs to go buy AI. There'll be analysts. There'll be internal trading desks of those asset managers, and they'll be buying AI. Now, is Railtown the best AI company out there? Frankly, I don't know the whole universe. It looks like it's a highly fragmented field. There's a lot of new ones. I know it's a great company. And when these guys come in with big pools of cash, they're going to take they'll try to rifle, but they'll probably just take there won't be enough. They'll just buy everything. And so, Bill, that stock right now is trading as if your mind is saying, this doesn't make sense to me. If it's so great, why is it 37 cents? I'm nervous. I'd rather own Finger. Finger's in China. Finger's got big data that might lead to a contract. Finger's got this C2 contract that might lead to burgeoning revenues. It's got top-up business, which is low margin, but it's safe. Finger's got, and I've been in Finger, and I think it's going to squeeze. That's what your mind is telling you. And I'm not saying you're wrong. I'm not saying you're wrong. What do you think? What do you think if the first mover AI companies were to be purchased, let's say by NVIDIA or by AMD? What do you think they'd pay? 10 million? 1 million? 100 million? A billion? They're probably going to be buying these successful companies, and I'm not making a prediction, but they'll be paying 20, 30, 40, 50 billion dollars just to own them. It's very likely that Railtown, and this is what Tony made fun of me for, but it's very likely, and we don't know yet, it's very likely that if Railtown goes to 350, which is my target, not the other ones that Tony put out on the Twitter to make me look like an idiot. My target is 350. But once we're there, it might surprise you how quickly new targets come up. But if Railtown, which itself has 4 highly prospective and looks like excellent products to sell to the entire world that uses computer software and has development teams, they also are going to be rolling up, maybe not all of 160 AI companies, 163, maybe half. They're going to be generating revenue. Now, Bill, what does revenue mean in the AI space in terms of valuation, as long as the stock market is burgeoning and booming and not in the middle of a crash? What are the multiples? I put it up. I've got to think how I can show it to you. I'll try to show before I sign off. But I paid money for a study done of 91 AI acquisitions over the last handful of years. 91 of them. The average multiple paid was 27.6, something like, or 26.7, or anyway, some multiple, something, let's call it 27 times revenues was the average price paid to acquire AI companies based on revenue only, and prospective revenue, not past revenue, just this is what we think we're going to do. 27 times revenue. Well, in the case of Railtown AI, you've got 4 products here. How much it's software. What do you think they'll sell annually in each product? I don't know. But I used 100 million as a projection for those 4 combined. And on Twitter, they put out from a very credible source that 400 million was coming already from the AI partners companies. 400 million a year, 400 million. So you add those together, it's 500 million. I can't find my notes, so let's just start from that. I'll just do it again. 500 million times, let's go with 27. That's $13.5 billion. $13.5 billion as valuation. $13.5 billion. They currently have 130 million shares outstanding. Let's divide it by that. 139, 123, 123. That's $97 a share. Value, say in 6 months, 9 months, as they build up their revenues. 500 million. It's $97 a share in value. Well, there's a lot of bullshit in these numbers. One, how do you know they're going to do 500 million? I don't. So let's take that in half. Let's take half of that number to allow for the fact that I have no idea what the revenues are going to be. So that gets it to 48.50 a share. Well, how many shares are they going to have outstanding? You're right. I have no idea. So let's take half of that. So that's $24 a share. Yeah, but this whole thing, I mean, you're just throwing numbers out. How do you know any of this? I mean, yeah, 91 companies went out at 27 times, but how do you know that multiples any? I mean, I think you're just, Tony's right. You're dubious. All right, well, why don't, instead of taking half of this, why don't I take a third of this? I'll discount this number by 2/3. So I'll take a third of this. It's $8. Yeah, but come on. You said you had this. You said first it was $97, and now you're letting me talk you all the way down to 8. You don't have any confidence in your numbers. Why should I trust anything? All right. So let's take a third of 8. $2.69, $2.70. Take half of 8. It's $4. My first target is $3.50. And Bill, I'll change it for you. I'll say my first target. Let's just look at the stock price right now. It's 37.28, 37.58 on the ask. I'll change my target. My target, I'll tell you, is $3.75. That's 10 times from here. And I think that could happen, Bill, essentially overnight. There's a thing called the value creation curve. So in the valuation curve, you've got an unknown company. It's doing research and development. No one knows if their product's going to work. They spent millions, 10 millions of dollars. It's 6 years. The stock goes up and down, but it's essentially flat, and it's annoying. And you're going, God, I'd rather own finger motion. And how do I know it's not going to go on like this for another 10 years? And what if they reverse split? And what if they do a deal with Jeffrey Easton? Okay. But what happens in a company that's a fundamental story and is successful, the value creation comes here. As they start getting revenue and they prove up their product and they start telling everyone their story, it goes from unknown, nothing, and it jumps. Now this jump can take months. It can be a year to go all the way up. But this first part can be essentially overnight. When I say overnight, I'm not saying you wake up one morning. It could take, could take several weeks. But once announcements come, once events come, oh, I changed the price. I'm going to say 375. Overnight, essentially, in the time frame of 20 years, it'll be like overnight. It's repriced. It's repriced. It's almost as if a company bought them out. It's repriced essentially over a handful of days, handful of weeks. Goes from $37.50 to $3.75. And this is the point I'm making. Of course, Tony De Niro has a brain the size of half a hollowed out pea. He doesn't try to understand. But you're still just on the beginning of this value creation curve. It's algorithmic. This is 10x. I'm going to make up a number. I'm not saying to you that that necessarily is the number. But this is what I mean. When it gets to if it gets, I can't, but if it gets to 375, there'll be good reasons for it. There's all this buying come in. All of a sudden, the Merrill Lynch rule is off. All that stuff I said. I think there's another 10x in it before, let's say, AMD buys them out. Maybe it goes to 37.50. That's down the road. So, let's not get ahead of ourselves. We'll see what the information tells us. But this move here, Bill, is an algorithmic move. This is the value creation that all growth stories, oil and gas, mining, they go through this, and maybe more than once. But then up here, the buyer comes in because it's safer to buy it then. So I don't know. I'm not saying this is going to happen by September, but I'm saying this part could happen by July 4th. I don't know, but in that range. As awareness kicks in on a company you've never heard of, but all of a sudden everybody's talking about, same with AI, this jump is not going to be a fanciful jump. It could go to $5. What do you think Finger's going to do in that time frame? Literally the next 90 days. What do you think Finger's going to do? Only you can decide that. I think Finger, if I had to guess, I think Finger is going to trade $2 to $2.50 for the next 90 days. Could it go to $3? Sure. Could it be subject to spikes downward, like to, I don't know, to 180? Sure. But I think in general, it's going to go sideways $2, $2.50 for the rest of the summer. What would make it run? I think what would make it run is if well, you know all the reasons. It would have to be something massive that comes out. And it could happen. There's no question about that. But what's the probability? I personally think Finger Motion had its trade this year. It had its move. I think it's going to take time to gear up again. I would guess it's going to take at least 3 to 4 weeks, probably 6 weeks of sideways trading, building back up so the chart looks like it, unless there's a surprise. There can always be a surprise. But technically, it's going to take time to build back up. So you own Finger Motion, which I think it's a great fundamental story. It's very exciting, and it could catch fire. But I think the trading that it's shown you held it on up to 5. You didn't sell any at 5 because you thought, hey, this is going to go. You didn't sell calls. You didn't want to miss out on a squeeze. Well, fair enough, because that's when squeezes happen, isn't it? Is when the stocks run up. But now it's pulled back. And so what's it telling you? Is it telling you to buy more? because the squeeze is coming, or is it telling you, you know what, honey, let me, that was a lot of work. I, you know, I can't do it again right away. Let me take a little nap. Let me relax a bit first. That's what I think's ahead for finger motion. Just a little bit of a nap before they get the blood flowing again. What do I think will happen while that nap is going on? I think Railtown's going to go up 10x. So on your $10,000, I can't give you specific advice. I think $10,000 will turn into $100,000. If you put it in finger, I think it'll be worth $10,000 to $12,000, $8,000 to $12,000 over the next weeks. I think there's a chance, and I wouldn't be telling you if I didn't think it's a good chance, that Railtown will turn 10,000 into 100,000. And what about 17,500 finger? And I'm not telling you to sell it at all. That's something, it's only you can sit down and figure out what you want to do. And remember, your finger is probably long-term. By establishing a position in Railtown, you're going to be making a short-term. But at 220 for finger, you've got $38,500. I think that'll be worth somewhere between 35 and 45,000 at the end of, let's say, 6 weeks, maybe 8 weeks. It'll be worth 35, 40,000. Maybe it could be lower. I think with Railtown, and I can't give you individual advice because I don't know if this is all your money or if it's, you took a mortgage, so it's only something you can decide. But 38,500, I think, can be worth 385,000. And is that squeeze material? Probably not. You're with finger motion, you're looking for much higher multiples. I know. But to me, that's pretty darn good. That's impressive. And again, I think once it's there, that's the new starting point. I think Railtown is mispriced because buyers are on strike. Not by choice. They just can't be there. So as they come in, because they know what you don't, they come in, I think not only is it going to go up, I don't think it's going to have the downdrafts like a lot of these other stocks, because there's going to be real money that understands AI and understands the story coming in. And so I think whilst right now it's 37 cents and it seems like, oh my gosh, what's the risk? It went down to 22 cents on the one day that Canada was closed 2 weeks ago. Oh gosh, I'd rather be in finger. Oh, that's fine. That's fine. I'm not making fun. I'm not making fun. It's only you can decide. But what I am saying is the buyers aren't there. You get to buy while the buyers are on strike. It's so hard to do. It's as if you went into Costco and they sell gold there for you, but for some reason that day the store had to be evacuated, and for whatever reason, so they had a manager's special on gold. They were selling it at $500 an ounce. Well, if you didn't know anything, you go, it's too heavy. Let me go buy the CDs, or let me go buy the women's shoes or something. But if you knew, you'd gobble up as much gold as you could. That, to me, that's where Railtown is priced right now. Railtown is priced at least at a tenth of what its real value will soon be perceived to be, at least. That's my opinion. That's my strategy. So if I were you, Bill, I think I'm certain that I would put the 10,000 into Railtown, but darn it, I'd be really tempted to get my position of Railtown up to 200,000 shares or more. And if Finger goes to, let's say, let's just pick it. If you get to 200,000 shares or more, 225, whatever, if you get to 200,000 shares of Railtown, and let's say by September 1st, it goes to $5, you've got $1 million. If Finger's at $5, you can come back. It'll cost you more per share, but you can come back and buy, you can spend $100,000 and buy 20,000 shares. If you get 225,000 shares of Railtown and it goes to $5, you can sell 20,000 shares, I don't know, 20,000 shares of Railtown at $5, buy 20,000 shares of Finger at $5, and you'll still have 205,000 of Railtown. And yes, despite his ridicule, I'll make it clear to you, I think Railtown might be a one decision stock. Get it right and sit tight. Railtown might be a stock that you buy and trying to think of a AI company out there. Apple Computers comes and buys the whole thing. And so you never even have to make a sell decision. All of a sudden you own shares of Apple. So which one would you rather be in? I don't know. I can't tell you, Bill. I can't give you advice. But I guess I've indicated to you, you're probably a wealthy guy, so you probably don't need to be as concentrated in your position as I'd be inclined to. You might have dependents, you might have expenses. You got to make your own decision. But if you have the flexibility, I would, for one, let's say 90-day period, I would probably, if it were me, I would probably concentrate my entire account in Railtown AI. And that, I'm telling you, even though Tony's going to make fun of it, I'm telling you, once you're concentrated in Railtown, and it's possible that as the news comes out, as the story gets told, it may be so good what you hear that you won't want to sell it. You'll say, I'm not selling before it goes to such and such. You'll transfer that admirable conviction in Finger, which I think it should be. But that's the thing. Life is about probabilities, percentages. It's about making money. It's not about I've owned Finger for 5 years. I've got to make it in Finger. Anyway, I'm not trying to be negative on Finger or any other stock. I just think Railtown is just such an amazing risk reward story. I think the risk is it goes to 350. The reward is it goes much higher than that. I don't want to give a number because Tony will make fun of it and call me dubious. But Anyway, that's a long answer. Let's see where Railtown closed. $36.95 to $37.9. Last trade $36.95. And the volume doesn't say. Oh, here, quote. Wow, 451,000 shares. I think if you wait, Bill, there's a risk. Finger's $1.80 and Railtown's $1.80. Only you can decide where you want to be. Let me put that in numbers. You could get your position right now up to 230,000 shares. Or if you wait, you might be swapping Finger 1-for-1 for Railtown, and you can get your position up to 117,000. Only you can decide. Account settings. I added 2,000. All right, let me write it down. I'm going to keep track. Account settings. $7,869.9. Are you out of your mind? That's great. Should I sell my position to Vest? I sold my Nixie. I can't tell you what to do. I sold my Nixie to buy Rail. I think Nixie's revenues are outstanding, but I think also there are still probably a lot of things going on in Nixie in terms of, and most of it's been already announced what they're trying to do. But account settings, I think when an auditor resigns, even though it says it wasn't them, it was me, it's a red flag. Could it be nothing? Sure, it could be nothing, but we don't know. So it's a red flag. So in an abundance of caution, as lawyers say, it might be good to sidestep it. But it's the same thing that I see with Finger. Odds are is there's going to be time. So it's going to be sideways movement for a period of time. I still think Finger, G-Bucks, Nixie, some of the other stories have this potential. But I'll state it again. I don't see what can go wrong with Railtown. I do not see what can go wrong with Railtown. That doesn't mean something couldn't. It's speculative. But I don't see it. I can see with Nixie, they've lost their auditor. What does it mean? Does that delay acquisitions? Does that delay listings? Does that delay or change? Does that change revenues? Does it delay contract? I don't know. Look how long getting a new auditor seemed anyway to delay everything with Finger Motion. They just did an offering at $1.50. The same logic I would give to a Finger Motion, I have to give to Nixie. Why'd they do a deal at $1.50 if it's really going to go up so much? I think it is. I mean, the bottom line on Nixie, they've announced it. They're going to do $10 million a month in revenues, and they're profitable. That's big. Even if they traded at 1x revenue, 1x revenue, that would be triple where they are now. Triple. But again, account settings, that's triple. What I think's coming, it's a prediction, not a promise, is that Railtown's going to go to 375. Tony will put something out that I'm throwing out all these numbers. I've used higher numbers in hypothetical ways, but my target is I'm trying to make it 10 times this number. My target is 10x. And I think I would say that all the way up to 50 cents, that you can make 10x on your purchase of Railtown. I think you can make 3x on Nixie, but it might not happen for 2 months. I don't know. The answer is I don't know. But I do feel like everything's out there for us to put the puzzle pieces together with Railtown. And all I can tell you, I sold my Nixie. I didn't get the price that it is. I got a lower price. I don't know what Nixie's trading for today, but I got a lower price. I got, I think, 206 or 207. And I, at the time, I overpaid for Railtown, but now it's in the green. So that's what I did. That's what I did. Doesn't mean it's the right thing to do. But account settings, what my goal was to have Nixie go up to $6, $8, $10, and then I'd take that money and buy Railtown. The clock ran out. The clock ran out. I didn't know anything about this auditor thing, by the way. It was just the clock ran out. I was sitting Thursday morning with a pad of paper and trying to figure out what I should do. And I just said, I think time has run out and I want to own Railtown. That's basically all it came down to. Time has run out. And I'm telling you, Railtown, now is the time to buy it. Nixie, yeah, it'll do fine. And it could even have a bit of a squeeze, certainly. Nixie could end up at, if it all works out, it could be a $20 stock if it's squeezed. If. But it's trading at whatever, 220, 230. Railtown's trading at 40 cents. I know it's hard to see it. And I understand that. I really do. And even as I'm saying it, I have to fight my own human instincts too, because you're investing gut and emotions are telling you one thing, but when you put it down on a piece of paper and list it out and try to suss it out, it's pretty clear what you should do on a risk-reward basis, a probability basis. Let me say it differently. I sold my Nixie. I had no idea about the auditor, but I sold my Nixie. I bought Railtown. If Nixie were to explode upward, I think I still made the right decision. I'd look and go, darn it, why didn't that happen before? But I still think I made the right decision because I think Railtown, I don't know how many times I have to repeat it. I think Railtown is going to go 10x, a multiple of 10 times from here within 90 days, probably within 60 days. It's possible it's sooner than that. by the time your kids go back to school, in your case, you already have plenty of Railtown, but I don't know, 4,000 of Nixie, you could buy 20, basically you could buy 20,000 shares, maybe 25,000 shares of Railtown. Let's say you have over 100,000 shares. If Railtown goes to 350, let's say it goes to $5, does that change your life? I don't know if it would change your life because I don't know your situation, and I can't give you financial advice. Only you can think it through. But I think for me, I made the decision that number one, I don't see what can go wrong with Railtown. I've been following it now for at least 9 or 10 months, and everything's lining up, including the macro, the micro, the general, the specific. It's all lining up. And now's the time. And, Nixie can go to 6 or 8, which is nice. It's nice. And, it's worth waiting on for, holding on for. But my projection, it's not a promise, but my conviction is that Railtown's going to give you 10x from here. I can't say the same about Nixie. I think Nixie had I never said it before to you when you were buying it and others were buying it. I think Nixie had a chance for 10x if it had a miniature squeeze, but I don't see a squeeze happening right now or any kind of pressure happening. They need a new auditor. What does that mean? Time lets the air out of the tires. Time pops the bubble temporarily. It just happens. It's going to take time. So I can't give you the advice. Only you can decide. But those are my thoughts. That's great. Ham's that CEO, if it's who I think it is, I think he's already raised a lot of money. I think his name is anyway. It's a nickel company. Anyway, that's great. And I'm sure that you can listen to that again on Twitter, and I think people should. Ham's got a huge audience. He built it all by himself. No one helped him. And he's going to expose it to a CEO who needs investors and needs ears. And I think it's terrific. I think it's all terrific. Chestnut, another 10K, maybe. I hope you get it. It's so weird how they wait to clear the money. So weird. Define protest, then define riot. Simple answers, simple dreams. You say you want a revolution. Well, if you want to go carrying pictures of Chairman Mao, You can count me out anyhow. You say you want a revolution. Well, you know, it ain't gonna ease your mind. Just got confirmation. Oh my gosh. Are you kidding? Sparky, who are you? Who? Holland. Who is Sparky 73? If I read that out, Tony's going to make fun of me. But I'll read out what Sparky just said. Sparky just got confirmation from a large shareholder. I assume he means somebody who owns a lot of stock rather than somebody who weighs 500 pounds. Got a confirmation from a large shareholder who knows the CEO in Railhouse. And I guess he's saying that shareholder is positive. We will see $30 a share in Railtown in 12 months. I didn't say it, but I will tell you, I don't disagree. I do not disagree. And Sparky, let's just say, let's add $2 and no, let's add $7.50 to that target while we're what ifing. Do you know what you're saying? You're saying over 12 months, using your number, maybe that's why I'm adding money, dollars, because it's easy for you. You're talking about 100x. 100x from here. Have you ever had a short squeeze do that much? Ever? 100x. And you know, Tony makes fun of me, but that was my point, Sparky. What if I didn't know this, but what if you get, well, I mean, these numbers are in my mind. That's not what I mean. I don't know who the large shareholder is. I don't know who you're talking about. But what if the stock gets to 350? The information might be so good that you don't want to sell. And Tony makes fun of me for that, because he's basically a financial idiot. He's just an accountant, or maybe something else. That's great, Sparky. That's really $30 is unbelievable. Unbelievable. It's unbelievable. Let's not get too. One thing we've got to do is, if that, let's say we have 1.5 million or 2 million amongst us, and it starts going to those numbers, let's try to keep our wits about it. But I saw it on a video, and the idea that if we've gotten it right, we might as well sit tight appeals to me. Sparky up to 200,000 shares. Sparky, that's awesome. Awesome. I asked the G-Bucks question because I have not gotten mine in my account. Again, I think what's happening with G-Bucks is they announced a warrant as a dividend. they set a record date. The record date was last Wednesday. And I think I read somewhere that they were going to transfer the shares electronically. I got the impression it was possibly that if such a thing's possible, at midnight that night, it was going to be done right away. But you're not, I don't know, for all the time I've talked about it, you're not getting it. I don't think. I think I understand what might be happening here is the company distributes the dividend via its transfer agent to the shareholders of record at the transfer agent. You're not a shareholder of record at the transfer agent. I don't know who you use, but maybe you use Schwab. Schwab is the shareholder of record at the transfer agent, not you. It's street name. So I would suggest to you, Brandon, that the company did transfer. They had probably the transfer agent fulfilled its responsibility too. And it's sitting in the name of Chuck E. Schwab for the further benefit of Brandon Neely. But it's not, you don't have shares. You don't have shares. Now, I think it will and can catch out the brokers and the shorts. I do. It's an attempt to do that, but you don't own the shares. You don't own the shares. In 1994, Article 8 of the Uniform Commercial Code was revised, transferring ownership of securities to central depositories, in other words, to the DTC, to Schwab in street name, to, in your case, Charles Schwab in street name. Stripping Brandon Neely of direct property rights and putting your shares at risk if Schwab speculates with them. This 1994 revision of the UCC Article 8 introduced the concept of quote unquote securities entitlements, which replaced direct ownership of securities with a contractual claim, effectively allowing central depositories, and in your case, it's Chuck Schwab's blob of street name securities, effectively allowing central depositories, in your case, Chuck Schwab, to utilize the securities at will. Rehypothecation, the practice of reusing pledged collateral to secure multiple obligations, lies at the heart of this scheme. When banks engage in derivatives trading, they use securities held at the DTCC and in Europe as collateral without investors' knowledge, without your knowledge. The Federal Reserve acknowledged this in legal documents, stating that, quote, investors do not have rights attaching to particular securities in the pool. You do not have rights attaching to particular securities in the pool. Instead, they only hold a pro rata claim to a collective securities pool. So you own a claim to the collective amount of shares that Chuck Schwab has. Now they'll peel it off and they'll trade over time because they know only 5%, 1% of the shareholders at any given time demand those shares. And they'll move it around and they'll settle it at the end of the day and they'll make it a small adjustment to their pool. But when something hits them like a dividend, they're probably not doing anything. They're probably taking a deep breath, seeing what shares they can buy, seeing what shares they can borrow. They're going to ride it out. And they probably are making a decision. Should we put dividends in everybody's account and join in on the fraud? Join in on, because they can't borrow. They can borrow the shares. They can't borrow the dividends. So, it gums up the system. And that's what the point of it is. It's not to make you rich. It's to try to trap the criminals. But the point is, you do not, to quote the Federal Reserve, you do not have rights attaching to particular securities in the pool. Instead, you only hold a pro rata claim to the collective. This effectively makes you an unsecured creditor. So the firm is taking the obligation they might owe you a lot of money. Rather than having outright ownership, investors are granted a contractual claim that allows financial institutions to prioritize their own interests in using these assets. If a crisis were to occur, and that's the point of this dividend, is to create a specific crisis, the first rights to the underlying securities would go to the secured creditors. Most likely those that are involved in the derivative contracts. And guess what? When Roth Capital creates an at-the-money offering, in it are derivatives, and they have the first claim. They are making sure they don't lose money. That's why CEOs come on and talk to you. They need your money in order to get the bankers to put out the secured money. You're the risk money. You're the first one in the pool. But anyway, my guess is your your firm is where your dividend resides. I checked the G-Bucks website today. There's no info on the homepage. And Ham's saying to direct email share count. Well, there's, I guess Ham might be saying email the guy. I don't know if he's the treasurer or he's shareholder relations, but in the press release, there is an email there. You can email. Sure you could. Seems like it was shipped right from the mint. Can you check? And you guys always want to distract people from where they can make money, but sure, I'll look it up on a chart. I'm sure it's been destroyed by What's the symbol? NCNA. You'll probably get paid by me saying that name. Oh, God. Just destroyed. Let me just look at 5 years. And just straight down. This has just been slaughtered by Wall Street. Just slaughtered. And $2.2 billion, 2.3 billion in volume. 2.3 billion in volume. It's on NASDAQ, Drew. So you want people to buy into it so you can sell it short? Is that what you're trying to do? 2.4 billion shares? Yeah, it's up. But dude, it's 14 cents. They'll at least do a 10-for-1 reverse split. 1 for 10. Well, however you say it. They'll turn 10 shares into 1, at least, to stay on NASDAQ. Probably more than that. And you want people to look at this? It's been destroyed. If I had time, I'd go through and I'd prove to you that they've taken toxic financing, but it's just not interesting to me. Pete the Geek just landed Dallas, still haven't bought Railtown. You're never going to get it at 31 cents. You might as well buy something else. It's not going to be 31 cents, Pete. I mean, you're welcome to try to get it there, put the order in, but you're crazy. You're just crazy. So you're going to miss a chance to make 10 times your money because you want to save 6 cents. I think it's crazy, but it's up to you. It's your money. I don't remember. I think I wrote it down, but I might have thrown it away. I typed it. I don't remember maybe you didn't tell me how many shares you're trying to buy. But Pete, you're going to miss it. You might as well just have fun in Dallas. Go. I've got some friends there. Maybe you can buy them dinner or something. Just go have fun. If you're trying to buy Railtown at 31 cents, let me show you a chart. There's a lot of, darn it, there's a lot of, I'll just come back to it. I'll come back to it. There's a lot of messages I don't want to leave, but you're not going to get it at 31 cents, in my opinion. G-Bucks is doing a count of all the shares themselves. See, this is good. This is good. So David's got the information. They're doing a count of all the shares themselves. So when they get the total, that's fantastic. They're trying to trap the shorts, and that's excellent. That's excellent. Brandon, if you listen to Ham's Repay, it'll explain it. That's great, David. Thank you. Thank you. How do you send screen share without disclosing the rest of your account? Well, you take a picture, and if I have Apple, but I'm sure it's on any other phone. You just take black ink and black out everything you don't want them to see. It's not that hard. I guess it's safe to say you and Ham are on the opposite sides of the world with stocks. It's a shame. I don't think we are. He's decided to go his way, and I wish him well. I wouldn't say I'm on the other side. I think he got frustrated that I projected that Finger would raise money, and I think he thought, and others thought, that that's short speaking. I think he may have been frustrated when I suggested that people shouldn't all buy stock at 9:15 in the morning, because that, to me, that's collusion, and they'll come after you. They won't go after the criminals. But he might also have been upset that I was suggesting that you sell calls or sell some of your stock when it was $5, when it was $4.50, when it was $4, when it was $3.50. He might have been upset about it. I don't know. But I wouldn't say I'm on the opposite side of the world. I would expect that if Ham is still talking to one of his large resources, he may start telling you about Railtown. I don't know, but I'm not David. If you want me to tell everyone here they should wait for Finger to go up, and I'm just not going to look. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to say that. I think that I owe a responsibility to people who tune in to my site. And investing, essentially chasing tornadoes, chasing short squeezes, starting with AMC, GME, Ham called GME, Finger, CRTD, GTII, G-Bucks, CJYL, GDC. In my case, I thought Logic, Nixie. Ham brought that one up a couple of times himself, but I would say that was more me. Maybe I'm the George Harrison on Ham's Beatle albums. I don't know. His Lennon and McCartney. I don't know. But it's not a great track record on my part with Logic, for example. Nixie, it looks like a push so far. G-Bucks, Ham's idea made you 10 times your money if you got in and sold. Not everybody did, though. Not everybody did. Does it still have legs? Sure. It looks like it's going to take time. And David, that's my point. I don't know, but everything in my head is screaming, there's no more time to wait to buy Railtown. Railtown could move tomorrow. It could be $1 by Friday. It could be 60 cents tomorrow. I don't know. But at some point, that's going to happen. At some point, that's going to happen. And for me, I want you all to know about it. And you can decide. It's your decision. You can decide the best thing for you is to take a screenshot of G-Bucks, get involved in the share count, try to cause a squeeze. That may be the best. And I'll be rooting you on. I hope you all get rich. And I'll be saying to myself, darn it, I owned that. Wasn't I stupid? But I think in the face of that, in terms of timing, G-Bucks, that could take weeks. And then it could devolve into legal, which could take years. I'm telling you, Railtown could move 10x in the next fortnight. It might take 2 months. It might take 6 months, but 10x is 10x, and that's all I'm saying. I don't think. I don't know. Ham's never asked me about the stock. He knows I talk about it, but he's never asked me. Maybe he knows about it and he's decided it's not a good stock. I don't think that's the case. I just don't think he knows the stock. I don't think Railtown's a short squeeze play, and Finger is. G-Bucks is. GTII was. CRTD was. So I don't think we're on opposite side of the world. Yeah, that's great, David. Look, I love the fight, and a lot of people are going to want to be in the stocks that are part of the fight. The Fingers, the G-Buckses. Let's be in it. We're in the fight. What I'm trying to do, I guess it's just because I've run out of time in my life. I'm trying to show you how you can make money. The fight's great. The fight is great. But how does it make you money? It's up to you. You can sit down with a pad of paper, David, and over a coffee, and just write down what you think. I'm not saying you shouldn't do that. All right. Looking good, Louie. Looking good, Louie. Feeling good, Billy Ray. Looking good, Billy Ray. Feeling good, Louie. All right. Added another. All right. All right. This is Tom Larry, the dude running his mouth about rail. He been for like 2 hours, he bashing everything else. He throwing Finger under the bus. I don't know if I'm doing that. I'm not sure I'm throwing Finger on the bus. But Tom Larry, it's your own money, it's your own decision, and there's a lot of information out there about Finger, and I lost a lot of money in Finger, so I wouldn't say I've thrown it under the bus at all. And in fact, I dedicate 2 or 3 years of my life working on Finger, and I don't know how to break it down for you. Finger is, let's see where Finger is trading. Railtown's 30, let's call it 37, 37.5 cents. Finger had good news yesterday, but I would say it was incomplete news, but it was certainly very welcome. And it's 229. It's up 0.09 cents, basically up a penny in the aftermarket. So Finger is 209. Let me see how many comments I have to go down. Not many. All right, so I'll go to this. I'll try to show you the chart on finger. Okay, here's the chart on finger. Sorry, this is actually on this is on Railtown. This isn't finger. So let me just quickly show you the chart on Railtown. Railtown is at 40 cents, maybe 42 cents for that guy Pete the Greek. 31 cents, it would have to pull all the way back to the moving average. Could it? I guess. But as soon as it, to me, on Railtown, if it breaks 42 cents, it's going to 60 cents. And I don't see much stopping it at 60 cents. But that's what that's what you're betting, Pete. You're going to try to buy it at 31 cents, but if it runs on you, once it breaks 43, I think it's 60 cents. You can buy it there. I still think it'll be a good buy. But all right, let me show you. Let me get the finger motion. I thought I had one. Here. Okay, so this is the chart of finger motion. And the yellow line to me is support. That's the very strongest support, I think, in the near term. That would bring it down to the 200-day moving average. But there's this iceberg down below, and I drew the yellow arrow there where it could, it already filled that gap, but if it has to come down and fill that gap again, you could see the stock correct more deeply. The green line is the top of all those rallies that you can see in the middle of the page, and the breakout that happened recently. So another way of looking at it is that finger motion broke out finally and ran like a son of a bitch, and that it's come back to test the breakout, which becomes support. And maybe this is as low as we have to go. It closed a small gap there, and maybe this is it. And maybe we can consolidate here without going lower. My gut is they're going to try to make it come down to that 200-day moving average, right around $2, $1.90, $2, which means it could come a little bit lower. You see the small yellow line I drew there? That could be, they test the top of that at 180. But anyway, that's in the short run. That doesn't condemn the stock as an investment over the long haul, Tom. But what it tells me is, much like in the middle of the chart where it went up and down for a while, it looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 months, and then it collapsed. And then when it collapsed, it went for 1, 2, 3, 4 months, 4.5 months before it broke out. Either time, it took time. It took time. And I think we might be in a period where we're going to need to take time. Now, you can call that running down finger. It's not. It's just what finger is doing. I can't change that. And all I'm saying, I waited and waited with Railtown. And now I think we're out of time with Railtown. Let me just show you Railtown again. Railtown went up to 60. I can't read it because I have your message there. But then it came down and it basically traded between 30 and 40 with one major experience down below 20. But then it rallied and it's been basically between 20 and 40, 30 and 40. Recently, particularly on the one day that Canada was shut in the United States, they traded it down. You know, because they're like cockroaches. They're always coming out of underneath wherever they're hiding, and it bounced back, and now the stock is above the moving averages. It looks like it's breaking out, and it's giving us a chance to buy as it struggles to get through 40. Depending on how you count that, you could count that as twice, or you can count it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and now this is the 6th time. Or you know, depending on how your chart shows it, the point is roughly around 41 cents, 42 cents has been resistance. If it breaks through, let's say 42 cents, 43 cents, it's broken through resistance. So Pete the Greek, if it breaks through and breaks through 43 and goes up, it might pull back to 43, but I don't see this pulling back to 31. It's possible, but then I'm wrong about the timing. So anyway, Pete, do what you want to do. If Railtown gets through roughly 42 cents, I think the next stop is 62 cents. It might pull back from there because nothing goes straight up, right? But then if it breaks 60 cents, I think it doubles. So that's $1.20. This dude, a broken record about Railtown, answer other questions. I promise not to be a broken record about Railtown, but I'm trying to get, it's up to you, Tom. You can stay with Finger. That's what you know and where you're comfortable, and you put new money there. I'm here about trying to make money, and but it's if you don't like the story of Railtown, don't invest. If you don't like hearing the story, wait till I'm finished and fast forward to where I'm answering other questions. Matthew Mall. All right, Matthew Mall. $11,500. You know, if that goes to what Sparky 7 said, Sparky 73 said, and that's why I said that if it goes to $3 or $5 or even higher, you might not want to sell, because if Sparky's right, you might be aiming for that. But if we use what Sparky said, Matthew, you're gonna have a chunk of change. I hope so. I really hope everybody who's in Finger, who's in G-Bucks, who's in Nixie, who's in ZJYL, who's in all these things can make money. But going back to Tom Larry, you know, I haven't done it yet. Maybe I'll do that tonight. But if I look at what I've lost in MMTLP, what I've lost in GTII, what I've lost in Finger, what I've lost in CRTD, what I've lost in Logic, what I've lost in I can't think of them all right now. But if I add all that up, come up with a number, it'd be interesting to see if it's in my IRA, of course, but if I have enough shares that if Railtown performs like some of the dream scenarios, if I can be made whole. It'd be very interesting. I might do that tonight for myself. But I think if you do it for yourself, this is how much I lost in GTII. I'm underwater in Finger, but I'm sticking with Finger. I'm flat on G-Bucks, but I lost money in CRTD. I lost money in MULN. I lost money in AMC. Whatever the numbers are, put it all out there. Come up with the losses, divide it by how many shares of Railtown you have. And if it's a reasonable target, hey presto, it might be a way to break even. But I'm suggesting that this might be a way to create some financial freedom too. Giuseppe, that's a nice position. That's great, Giuseppe. No, there's no action you need to take. There's no action you need to take. The saga goes on. I don't know what to say. It should be soon. It should be soon, but it's just out of my control, Giuseppe. But no, you don't have to do anything. You don't have to do anything. Well, yeah, I think, I'm painting the picture I see. But we have to remember to be sober as information comes in. And if it starts to run or something happens, I'm not telling you not to use money management strategies, but it can go both ways. I mean, there are times when, people who stuck with going all the way back, I use the example of the Georgia peach. He just stuck with Coca-Cola, and it made him a wealthy, independent man. Sometimes you do that. Yeah, it's not a short squeeze play. Railtown isn't. It's yeah, that's what I think. It's a marrying of AI specifically in Railtown with AI in general, with the whole marketplace. It's what's in front of us. I didn't make it up. The squeeze plays have potential. They're not enforcing it. They're not enforcing it. Next 2 days dropping 20%. Yeah, I think shadow called. I think the guys that do well on Wall Street and in the banks, they're trained from a very young age. Don't lose money. Use other people's money and don't lose money. Don't lose money. And so when you're in a stock and they announce that the And I saw it on Twitter. I couldn't find it in an announcement, so I'm not sure it was announced. But their auditor left. That's not so good. We might find out that that auditor was a one-man shop and he's retiring and there's a new auditor stepping in and everything might be fine. Don't know. I just don't know. Nixie being down 20% might be a buying opportunity with such great news. Absolutely. Absolutely. I don't know what to say. My main issue is, I'll say it over again. I'm not saying anything negative about Finger. I'm not saying anything negative about Nixie. I'm not saying anything negative about G-Bucks. What I'm saying is, at least for myself, I can't give you advice. Time ran out to make sure that you or I got into Railtown at a good price. If you think Nixie can go 10x in the next 2 weeks to 2 months, that's my time frame. Could I be wrong? Sure. It's all about projections, though. If you think that can happen, I thought it could happen before now, and I still think Nixie could do that. But this issue of an auditor, to me, means time. So it might be as simple as this shadow call. It may be that Railtown moves up dramatically, and there may be a trade to say, you know what, let's take a little bit off. We'll go into Nixie, sell Nixie runs. We'll come back and buy more. I don't know. I can't predict the future. But I do agree with you. The fundamentals of the revenue look on the surface, the fundamentals look amazing. Of course, they use this word gross revenues, which that's not been a name that I've ever seen a company focus on, gross revenues. It looks almost naive to describe it because revenues are your top line. So when they say gross revenues, is there a net revenue number? I mean, I don't think that's a big thing to worry about. It's just something to notice. So there's some unknowables. That's life. There's unknowables. I like that summary, Brandon. There's no manipulation going on with Railtown. They're not trying to manipulate. Let's distribute this, catch out the shorts there. Let's Anyway, let me just leave it at that. They're not trying to manipulate things to create a short squeeze, which I'm not saying is not a bad thing to try to do. I'm not even saying that. But in the case of Railtown, I really think it's a situation where it's mispriced. Railtown is mispriced. Now, is there risk? Sure, there's always risk. But I guess my basic thesis is, as soon as the buyers that don't pussyfoot around and don't need a lot of explanation and don't need an idiot like me to go on and on and on and on about it, they just know when they're able to buy, who's going to sell them the stock? So what does that mean? I guess maybe it becomes a short darling or something, but all things being equal, 53% of Railtown is held by insiders. Where are they going to find stock? I think it's going to go up. All right, Stan. Stan the man. That's good, Stan. You're going to be... Stan bought 10,370. That's awesome. All right, thank you, Giuseppe. Finger is down on good news. Oh, not Nix. Yeah. Well, Finger's always underselling when news comes out. Ironically, Brandon, I wish Finger had sold 20 million shares at $4 via Roth Capital. Then they'd have 80 million, or pick a different number, 20 million shares at 350, or 15 million shares at 3, you know, but some number. And then they'd have this big pool of cash to go build out those C2 vehicles. They didn't do that. So I don't know what it means. Could mean the C2 contract isn't as big, or it's not exclusive, or it's stretched out. I don't know. Or the other thing it could mean is there's a huge flood of money coming in from a private investor or something. We don't know. Yeah, I was looking at that. Let me see if there's any news. Oh, sente la vida. Na, 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 na. Oh, sente la vida. By the rivers of Babylon, where he lay down, and there he wept for Zion. For the wicked carry away captivity, required of us in song. How can we be in a strange land? I don't see any news on the volcano, but I did watch one video on it over the weekend, and it's a little frightening. All right, it's 5:24. I guess I'll go to 5:30, and I'm going to sign off. Let's see if there's any news. There's going to be a nationwide color revolution. Swell. Yeah. Momo meltdown. No mercy rally. Unstoppable upside pain. Do not go short. Goldman commodity traders outline tactical plays on platinum. Do not go short in that dark night. Russia strikes Ukraine capital 5 hours. I don't see any real news to go through. Yeah. Well, I hope they explain it. I don't want to play it. President Trump suggests, and you know, President Trump and truth don't match up. President Trump suggested Biden's Deputy Attorney General, Lisa Monaco, was one of the AutoPen operators. Attorney General. Lisa Monaco initiated the lawfare investigations into Trump. So powerful. Hillary was so powerful having Teddy Bush, or whatever his name is, Billy Bush, put out that tape. Because women just hate Trump. They just hate Trump. And Biden physically assaulted and inserted part of himself into a legislative aide when she was 21 or 23, Tara Reid. Who cares about that? Lisa Monaco.
Mr. President, these protests obviously started in reaction to these large-scale ICE operations in Los Angeles. Should people expect to see similar operations in the rest of the country?
Yeah.
And will similar protests
as you know, we're moving murderers out of our country that were put here by Biden or the AutoPen. The AutoPen really did. I mean, the people, whether it's Lisa Monaco or whoever operated the AutoPen, these are criminals. People are criminals that allowed these criminals into our country. And I don't think that Biden knew what the hell he was doing. I don't think he even knew about it. But when they opened up our borders for the whole world to come in, yeah, we're going to get them out. We're getting them out. We're starting to get acknowledgement from the courts that, you know, there's a system. They come in without courts and they go out after they want trials and everything else. I think that's starting to work out now. Judges are starting to see what a terrible situation it is. Many of those people that you saw on television last night are criminals that were allowed into our country by Biden, and they want to stay, and we don't want them. And they come from jails, and they come from mental institutions, and they come from all over the world, not just South America. And we're not going to let them stay. And this is the first, perhaps, of many, or perhaps, you know, if we didn't attack this one very strongly, you'd have them all over the country. But I can inform the rest of the country that when they do it, if they do it, they're going to be met with equal or greater force than we met right here. We did a great job. The people, you,
No, it's
Christy,
not
and
over.
Tom Holman, and all of the people.
It's not over. It's not over. Asciende la luna. I'll just look one. There's no real news here. Amazon to invest $20 billion to expand AI infrastructure. Pennsylvania. Anti-ICE protests are erupting all across the United States. I think it's paid for. I don't think it's organic. All right. I don't know. It's 5:30. I'm going to sign off. I'll stop talking about Railtown once the opportunity goes away, which I think means the price goes higher. And then we can get back to talking about what other opportunities are there. But I just see it as now's the time to act if you have an inkling. I think all these people that bought it's great. I have a list here. And I look forward to tracking its movements. I'm not saying it's going to be, instantaneous. I think it's going to be very quick, but I don't, nobody knows perfectly the timing of anything. But I wouldn't be being so forceful if I didn't think it could happen momentarily. Doesn't mean it will, of course. It's just time. It's just time. It's, they announced the memorandum of understanding on February 11th. It's 4 months later. It's getting to a point they should be able to announce the completion of that deal. When they do, I think buying comes in. So with that, before my thing runs out of juice, I'm going to sign off. Peace to everybody. Thanks for tuning in. I'll be talking with you tomorrow, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, cheers. Emil, 12K, I'll write that down. That's great, Emil. It's great. Yeah, hopefully this comes before MMTLP resolution. I hope it makes everybody whole again. All right, peace.